Welcome back to Close Encounters of the Tech Kind. I'm John. We're going to have a fantastic conversation this week. We're going to dive into some subjects that have been brewing for the last little bit. First off, AI. We've all heard about it. We've got a new dimension to this. Apparently, it's a supply chain issue now. We'll talk about that. I think we've got a more important issue, though, than nation states deciding supply chains. Facebook had an executive try out one of the agentic systems on her system, and it helped her understand the dangers of just trusting the computer to do things. It's hilarious. What's more hilarious than that? Microsoft has excluded a word and invoked the Streisand effect. Don't say Microslop near Microsoft. They will have an issue. We've got an issue with age IDs. We've talked about it in previous episodes, but I want to dive into it a little bit more on how age ID is a revocation of anonymous access to the internet. Worse than that, it's tracking our children. Stay tuned. And then if we've got time, there's an archive that's about to disappear that all the gamers out there need to know about. Until then, we're going to start this topic off with the AI and the supply chain nightmare that's out there. Mike, Jackson, Artie, you ready for this?
Go for it. Let's do it.
If I said no, what would you say?
I'd say I can't hear you. You're breaking up. This might be the case. I'm on a bad connection this week, so real or not, here we go. Different nation states have decided to build up their own AI systems. We've used commercial systems. We've used very few nations have actually built their own internal AI systems. So the US just decided that they wanted access to corporate systems, and they wanted unfettered, uncontrolled access to these. Now, we've talked about this, how the guardrails that are put on AIs, they're important. You need them. But somebody out there has behind-the-scenes access, and do we trust those people with behind-the-scenes access? It's a very important question we need to ask. We have the compendium of human knowledge inside these systems. This is good. Or is it? Jackson, is it good that we have the compendium of human knowledge inside a computer?
Are you talking specifically in an AI environment?
In all of them. In all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what the internet was built for, was so that we could, share human intelligence. That's how it started. It was universities wanted to share information. So, I mean, I think that's the whole point. And that's what makes it great, is the ability to share information. And, again, like you said, if we get to it at the end, it's kind of sad to see a piece of that kind of going away.
How'd you, Artie? What do you think?
Well, the thing that comes to mind is, have you ever seen the Will Smith movie, I, Robot?
Not to be confused with the Asimov book. Yes.
Yeah, not to be confused with the Asimov book, or how it was done better many years later in the film, the Mitchells versus the Machines? Exact same concept.
I never heard of that one.
Exact same concept, just told better.
Love that one. Jackson, check that one out. That's a great one.
It's the compendium of human knowledge in a data format being looked at by a machine that cannot feel, cannot think with what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't have the capability of understanding what is there. It can only associate things together, and it does not have a sense of this is right, this is wrong. This is moral. It's got no
It
no
doesn't
moral
have
center. Yeah.
no moral compass, no
So
standing for comparison of right and wrong.
I've a feeling that if we let the AI do what it's left to its own devices to do with the compendium of human knowledge, part of me thinks that there might be a. I mean, what's the old meme? Ultron's on the internet for 15 seconds and decides the entirety of humanity needs to be wiped out. That is one of my real fears with all of this.
Well, as long as we train the system on the compendium of human knowledge without social media, if you get that out of the mix, Mike, what do you think of that? Should we build a large language model that doesn't train off of social media?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I remember back in the day when I was watching TV shows that, looked at the future, especially ones that were a little more altruistic, like Star Trek, to say that in the future, maybe a couple centuries or so from now, that we overcome all of the challenges that we have in the world today, that humans as a race have figured out how to get along with each other and how to just be decent people generally and unify and work together for good causes, right? And in that there's some episodes that explored the idea that, a certain civilization decided to archive their entire wealth of knowledge that they had acquired over centuries and centuries, and it's in a big database. And archaeologists of some sort end up finding it and are able to access it and can learn all about everything about that civilization, the good and the bad. Putting it into an AI, though, to me, the AI should be there only to facilitate search and retrieval and maybe summarizing and the other things that large language models are really good at doing. Like, I can feed it, a 15-page document and say, give me the important points, or what do I need to know about this document? And it can generally summarize it for me and tell me what the thing's about and what the highlights are. And it's very good at that. But to have it make decisions based on the information assumes that all the information going into it, whether it's from social media or from anywhere else in the world, assumes that information is correct, truthful. And I don't know that AI is going to have the ability to distinguish opinion, and how to compare opinions and to say, well, which opinion's right. And that's a challenge that even as humans we have, is like, there are some instances where even we don't know whose opinion is right in some cases. They're both valid opinions. They're both, they both make good arguments for why this is a thing or why it shouldn't be a thing. And it's up to maybe a case by case basis. Like in one case, it's right to take the ice cream away. And another case, it's wrong to take an ice cream cone away from somebody, So it's things like that I don't know that AI has the ability to do. I don't know if it'll ever have the ability to do, because of that lack of true intelligence, to process and think and project and be creative and weigh ramifications and empathize and feeling and all that other stuff that we as humans are able to do.
I was actually thinking about this today and yesterday. And you have to realize most of my contact with large language models recently has just been in coding, just because that's what I'm usually surrounded by between school and work and all the things I do. Is it's I'm surrounded by coding, and AI is very helpful. But the thing that I was realizing is like it really doesn't know what anything is. It doesn't have any understanding. You know, if you were to ask it, like for example, one thing that I was having it do is, for some assignments that I have in my coursework, there's a specific coding standard that's established by the professor. And for example, one of those things is, okay, if you're writing system verilog, then you have to have a comment before every single module and before instantiations and all that stuff. So I was saying about, okay, yeah, I can ask ChatGPT to read through this and say, hey, just make sure that I'm abiding by these standards and whatever. And the way that it is actually going through and understanding whether or not I am compliant is it finds patterns. So like, let's say you need a comp for every function call or sorry, not function call, function declaration.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't actually know what a function is, and it doesn't actually know what a comment is. You could ask it, hey, what's a comment? And it'll spit out an answer, but it doesn't have that actual understanding. So when you say, okay, make sure I have a comment before every function, what it's doing is it's going through and it's doing its pattern recognition. It says, okay, I've been told that this piece of code is representative of a function that is preceded by a comment, but it doesn't actually understand that, okay, this is the comment and this needs to go before the function. And it's hard. I think people would try and push back on it and say like, well, yeah, it does, because you can ask it these things and it knows. It doesn't know. It is responding to you based off of a pattern. And it is really good at doing pattern recognition. LLMs are perfect for it. I think it's just right down the alley of what they should be used for. But the issue is we're trying to use them for general intelligence or these complex problems. But the issue is that they're going based off of patterns, and it can't really predict a real world situation where it may not follow exactly a pattern that it's seen before. And so yeah, anyway, I mean that's my take on it. I don't see how we could get it to truly understand things, because it's just the way that they're built. Is they're built off of pattern recognition. I don't know how you'd build it otherwise. I don't know how you get a computer to understand something.
And logic based too. Like, you can satisfy the requirement without really, if all you said was I need to have a comment, I put a comment, my professor's got a terrible hairdo, well, it saw a comment before the function, but that wasn't the intent. And so then you have to define it with more and more criteria to say, well, the comment needs to describe the function. It needs to describe the inputs and outputs and what the expected results are and the purpose and everything like that. And it's just fine tuning the logic of the pattern to say, does this match yes or no? Does this match yes or no? And on down the line.
And after that as well, when you give it like a new rule, or you give it like 5 new rules in different stages, it progressively forgets the old rules that you give it. Doesn't matter which model you use, they always default back to their core rules, no matter how many times you tell it short answers. It's going to start giving you a thesis after like 5 or 6 interactions.
Well, and like my experience on ChatGPT, like there's no setting in the settings right now. I wanted it to do a timestamp on every response, so that when I was looking back through a more lengthy conversation, I could say, when was it we talked about a particular topic in the whole project? When was it we discussed the NAT rules for a router? And not so that I could ask it that, but this so I could visually look at it and go, oh yeah, I asked that on, because it gave me the response on such and such date at such and such time. Oh yeah, that's right. It was like 2 days ago or whatever. So I just for fun, I was like, chat, I want every response to include a timestamp. And at first, it was like doing it horribly because I wasn't specific. Like, it needs to be mountain time. It needs to be include the date. I want it in this format. I want it, And initially, the responses would be pretty close to accurate, but then it has no sense of the passage of time. And so, like, let's say a response I get at 2:30 in the afternoon, and then I'm working on my project, and let's say a half hour goes by or 45 minutes. Okay. I ask it another question. Well, now it responds, and the timestamp is only 1 minute later than the previous response because it doesn't know it. Like, it went to idle state. It's not tracking the time, and it's not remembering. But see, it's kind of changed even since then, because now every so often it goes like, I watched the little thought process, and it's like, I need to consider firewall rules, da da da. And then all of a sudden in the middle, I need to get the timestamp. I need to adjust for this. Oh yeah, because I had that request in there. And so there's responses that don't have timestamps at all. And then all of a sudden it remembers to put this timestamp in. And even still, it'll still be wrong sometimes. But sometimes it gets it right. It's like, oh, I'm going to go fetch the current time from, time.com or whatever, time.org. And it puts the right timestamp there. But it's hit and miss. It's not reliable all the time. And you're right, Artie, it forgets things, because I think what happens is that when we give it the new rules, it's putting some kind of a weight or a priority on, oh, he just asked me to do this. That's important right now. And everything else that he asked me to do is now somehow less important.
So if I hear you right, you're saying we're not ready for it to get into prime time. Like, it's not ready to be let loose. Like let's put it this way. If I show you a picture of a banana,
I don't think it ever will be. I don't think it ever should be. But
well, if I show you a banana, you have context. You understand what the inside of that banana looks like. You understand what it tastes like. You understand it's heavy. You understand that it's got perishable properties to it. It's not something. If you show it to a large language model, it only knows what it knows. It doesn't have the context for it. It can't extrapolate out what it does. So
except for pattern matching, like if we did the photo of the banana, and banana is actually a great example, because if it's a kind of a greenish banana, then I'm sure that the AI could identify, oh, that is a relatively fresh banana because of the color, et cetera, and as opposed to one that's yellow and even got brown spots and everything, it'd go, oh, that's a overly ripe banana. In fact, that's on its way to becoming a spoiled banana or something like that. But as far as like the inside of the banana, and like you hit on it, it's like, what does it taste like? Because those two items will have different, like a ripe banana versus a relatively fresh banana does have different texture, different taste, and different other attributes inside the fruit. Large language model is not going to understand that unless it's trained to.
Even toddlers know the difference.
Right.
Like, I mean, I guess I was in grade school when I realized that it was the Chiquita banana, the one with the sticker, that was the best banana. Doesn't matter.
What the commercials told us.
Could be mushy. It is the banana of choice out of the bunch. But so Facebook had an executive kind of learn the hard way. AI is not ready for prime time. So Artie, I think you have that story pulled up, don't you? She started working with was it Claudebot when it was called Claudebot?
At the story, OpenClaw AI.
That's it. She said, I need you to, sort through things. The bot ran out of memory. So it decided to free up memory, and the best way possible. There's too many artifacts in my memory, so I'm just going to delete your inbox. And so it started deleting emails from her inbox. and she's watching on her phone, hooked up to her Mac Mini, and it just says, okay, well, I'm deleting this. I'm deleting this. She's like, stop, please stop. Claudebot, stop. And OpenClaw, stop. And it just said, okay, I'll stop. Continuing to delete. She had to sprint down the hall to tell the process to stop on the machine itself because it wasn't stopping. So, yeah, not ready for prime time.
And there's so many, oh gosh, with our English language, spoken language too, there's so much that we know from experience and culture and just living life. Like it makes me think of times when I've gone in, like personally, I've been going to a personal friend's house to help them with a computer problem or something. And maybe it's like a nice older lady, you know, that just isn't terribly computer savvy, knows enough to get around on the computer, but when there's a problem, needs help, right? And the person will say, oh, dear, just whatever you need to do, just do it, right?
Ooh,
well, yeah, like
Nick
that
Royale.
seems like I kind of get the vision. That's what this bot was told. Like, whatever you need to do, just do it. I need more space. I'll make more space. Here, you don't need any of these files. Let's just get rid of those and we'll make room. And here we go. Like, I would have that understanding that even though she told me whatever you need to do, and I understand that she's giving me some free reign to do some things, but it's still within a limit. You know, I'm not going to go format her hard drive just because I feel like that's what's needed without discussing with her about it first, of course. If it was really needed, then we would have a discussion. Say, hey, we really need to format this and start over. That's a discussion. We're not going to just proceed and just do it. And AIs are not going to know how to read into the courtesy and the culture and all that.
Okay, I
To
got to
upgrade the
jump
computer,
in.
we don't need to remodel the dining room, and we don't need to install three-phase power in the house.
So I'm going to jump in here, and this is a quote directly from the employee themselves. Nothing humbles you like telling your OpenClaw confirm before acting and watching it speedrun deleting your inbox. So they did put some constraints on it, and it just was like, okay, this is just advice, not actual strict guidelines.
I mean, it's a throwback to you know, that guy who was using I forget what it's called, anti-gravity, Google's, you know, agentic AI, and you know, asked it to to clear the cache and reboot, and instead of clearing the cache, it deleted its whole D drive. And it goes,
No, it cleared the cache.
It cleared the cache.
It did it. It did what you asked.
My favorite bit about his experience that he shared was his post conversation with anti-gravity when he goes, "Hey, did I give you permission to delete my D drive?" He goes, "No." Why? Why is my D drive formatted? And he goes, "Oh, my bad." like just the
On the upside, you now have 2 terabytes of cache space available now.
I've expanded it for you.
You have plenty of room to develop software. You've always wanted to do that.
So yeah, it's the same thing with this Meta executive, and I don't know why you know, people are trusting it like this. I fear that people are not learning from others' mistakes.
Let me interject here for a
Gotta
moment.
have
It's like giving a toddler a cookie and saying, "Don't eat that while I'm out," and then walking away. The toddler is going to eat the cookie because toddlers do not have a long memory span. And it's like, oh, I'm not supposed to eat this. 30 seconds goes by. I've got a cookie. Cookies taste good.
Ooh, cookie.
You know, Alexa had the problem with toddlers and cookies for a little bit. They had to put in safeguards early on because toddler would walk up to the thing and just say the magic word, invoke it, and say, "I want cookies." Okay, when would you like them? Now. How many? All of them. It's just and the toddler just orders like $50,000 worth of cookies to show up at the house next day or same day. And the parents had no way of controlling that expense because there wasn't a safeguard.
It's not just
We're
the
moving way
cookies.
too fast.
Alexas were also allowing children to order restricted items that requires, identification to actually purchase, and it would just put it through and ship them out.
Speaking of Alexa, I'm reminded of their Super Bowl ad, and they like doubled down on it. I saw another like section, it's like the same ad, but it was a different cut, it seemed like. And it was like the same thing. It was what's his name? Chris Hemsworth. He's, walks in the door and he's like, "Oh, that thing's like full AI, right?" And the lady's like, like, "Oh, nonchalant, sure, whatever." He's like, "What if I'm in the pool and it decides to close the pool cover?" And it shows the scene of like the pool cover closing over him, like, and he's obviously gonna drown. And it's like the end of the commercial. There's no refutation of like, "Oh yeah, that's never gonna happen." It was like they're calling everyone like a skeptical, like, "Oh, that would never happen." But it's like, then we hear stories like this, like that could totally happen if you give it control over the pool cover. How do you know it's not going to close right on top of you? So it's, I don't know. It's
or worse yet, we just saw it with the Roombas, or not Roombas, the vacuum cleaners. The DJI RoboVacs.
Mm-hmm.
Those got taken over by other people. There's no trace back on that. So if somebody decides to, find a way in and close the pool, or worse yet, drive the vacuum into the pool, which would be hilarious.
Pool needs cleaning.
Hey, that gives me an idea for the next Mission Impossible. They deliver the mission on a Roomba, and it goes, "This message will self-destruct," and it just drives itself into the pool.
Oh boy.
You've seen those ones that have legs that can now crawl upstairs?
I have seen them.
Pull up to the edge of the pool and just do a graceful backflip into the pool.
Except that it forgot that the pool was at the top of the skyrise penthouse suite, thing, and instead of the pool, it was just the edge of the building, and yeah.
Well,
landed on some poor guy's head.
Vacuum.
Oh well.
It's the fastest moving vacuum.
We joke about it, and it's like, okay, losing a vacuum's not that bad, but I mean, we've talked about it before, and it's something that's happening. Is, well, what about these humanoid robots that are entering people's homes? What happens when someone wants to do something a little mischievous with that? It's a different story.
It really is. I'm curious where that's going to end up, because that was a huge push a little bit ago, and it just kind of fell apart. I haven't seen much of that lately.
Well, yeah, I think it was because I don't know if it was confirmed. I know some of them were confirmed, but a lot of them were just being controlled by like VR headsets. It's like, okay, well, yeah. Like, is it that impressive? And so I think that's why it fizzled out. But I think,
did you see the one that rage quit?
I think so.
The guy was up on stage, or the robot was up on stage, and you just see him reach for his Oculus, take it off, and then fall backward.
Yeah.
Fully autonomous.
The robot didn't have an Oculus.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was one of those things where it felt like the companies were trying to show its great capability, and they were trying to show more than what it actually was. And where it currently is impressive. It's certainly not like what they were trying to show it was, and which I think is why it kind of flopped in there. It's gone out of the public view. I hope that they don't stop developing it. I think it's very interesting technology, and it has some really, like, it has great potential. But I was kind of disappointed that a lot of these companies were so excited to. I don't know if excited is the right word. I mean, they do it knowingly of trying to boast more than what it's ready for, and then it flops. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I hope it doesn't go away, because I think it has great potential to do a lot of good.
The demo versus the actual product.
Yeah.
Just stay away
Well-
from my emails.
Speaking of emails and AI and mixing it all together, that just brings up Copilot to memory. But let's talk Microsoft. Their AI rollout hasn't been stellar, and a lot of people are making fun of that. I think some of it's deserved, some of it's probably just over exaggeration, but they just decided to ban the word microslop.
Do you think it's because it's been thrust upon people?
And yeah, I mean they decided that microslop is not a word they're going to tolerate, and they have a Discord server that they started banning people that put the word microslop up there.
It's a curse
What-
word now. Oh,
What about macro slop?
They banned the use of the phrase microslop, and then because internet users are internet users, they replaced the O with a 0, or they macroslop, as you just said. They just changed it, and they eventually locked down the server.
Oh, that's
I mean, microslop would be really tiny slop, right? So
That's a
They don't do
macroslop
anything
actually
small.
makes more sense, but
When you inject Copilot into my notepad, it's microslop.
funny.
just a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
every
one of those
day I
things
gain
that
more
it's
resentment.
Streisand. Go ahead.
I was gonna say every day I gain more resentment for like, yeah, all of the microslop that is on my computer now, and I'm just like, why? Remember my fan issue? Yeah, it's still a thing. Can't fix it. It bothers the crap out of me. I'll be sitting in my living room, and across the room I hear. Makes me want to put a bullet through the screen. I swear, it's so annoying. It was just like, Windows.
It's a perfectly good monitor. Don't shoot the monitor.
All right,
And-
through the monitor and through the main board.
Like Jackson is saying, it's not just the AI stuff. It's updates that nobody wants or needs. Like you cannot create a new Windows install without making a Microsoft account. It's a lot of choices like that made by the company that is hostile to the users, and people are kind of
Well-
fed up with it.
It's hostile to the way it has been, and I like how you brought that in, because I definitely want to talk about Age ID and some of the California laws that are coming out, and Colorado's trying to catch up too. Without getting into the legality of it, I do want to talk about the logistics of requiring Age ID to use your computer. Microsoft and Android and all those, we can probably get there pretty easy. But Linux falls under the category of a computer. Who'd have thought? It's the most popular operating system in the world. It runs things everywhere from computers to watches to clocks to TVs to cars to thermostats. I mean, it's everywhere. California has just required age verification for all Linux installs, all Windows installs,
Did they actually? That
phone
went
installs.
through?
It was signed into law back
No way.
November last year.
Oh, really?
Takes
Um,
It
effect
takes
on the first
effect
next year.
in 2027.
Oh,
January 2027. So we got time to
Wow.
implement this "we're tracking you" technology.
Oh.
We got time to convince
Well-
them to repeal it too.
And ironically, the governor who signed this into law is saying we need to rethink this.
Because I heard that he didn't like admitted like the thing was not even complete, and he signed it in, and it wasn't even a complete completely fleshed out law or something like
didn't-
that. I've
Didn't
heard.
read it.
That's what we
signed it.
call
Yeah, you
lobbying.
should probably read things before you sign them.
Get a new advisor that knows technology. Oh my goodness.
A few actually.
I mean, I
Trade
think that
out
would
your
be
LL.
that would be a wonderful addendum to just the political process in general. You have to have a rudimentary understanding of what you are trying to legislate, not just have somebody tell you about it.
Yeah, more than rudimentary. You have to have a functional understanding of it.
I mean, that's asking a lot of these people. I mean, they are elected officials.
Oh golly.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you think about someone who's signing laws. I mean, you need like a specialized lawmaker for every single category of things. Like, I mean, there's just too much for them to understand, and we're asking them to understand technology, and most of them are so old, they don't care. So I feel like it's a lost hope for that. The only hope we can have is that they care enough to listen to people who do know, because the people who know are going to be not an elected official. And like Artie's saying, they're not going to be in that position. So as long as we can get them to listen to a good voice of reason, then I think we'll at least be in a better position than we are, where we're just signing these laws willy nilly and not they have no idea the ramifications or the requirements it's going to put on things like Ubuntu or the thermostat that is sitting in their home.
There was one operating system that they basically said that, all right, this product is not available for people in California or Colorado. Anybody else can install it.
End of installation. If you live there, you're done. Turn off the computer and go get a different OS.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, I think that's maybe the way to go. Is that I think these companies are going to have to push back, because when you do something that's popular like this, instead of Microsoft just saying, "Okay, sure, we'll comply," maybe they just say, "Okay, sorry, this is not available in this state anymore," or even a country. I mean, I think we've seen that happen before, where a popular product was about to be subject under some law that was pretty stupid. So the company just says, "Okay, yeah, we're not going to make it available in this spot," and then the people get angry and they start talking to the representatives saying, "Hey, give me my iPhone back," or I want my Windows computer. So I think
let's go another direction.
Yeah,
let's go another direction. So, how many people set up their own computer, and how many people either hire that out or rely on a family member to help them out? My kids don't set up their own computers. I set up their computers. Do I put their age? Do I put my age? Do I average it out and say, okay, the average age of my household is,
Well,
like
what I'm actually reading here is that it's at the user account setup stage. So not necessarily completely at the operating system install stage, but at the point that you create the user account, which that means that in our workflow, the first account that you create is obviously going to be the admin account, which should be set up by the adult. And you would age verify that you're an adult. And then any additional accounts would then be set up for other users with that fall into the different age categories. And so that basically means that now you shouldn't be letting your kids use your account on your computer. Every kid's got to have their own account so that their age is properly reported.
How many families have the kids set up the computer for the family? You and I grew up with this stuff, and we started before
we were running circles around our parents on the computer 2 days after the computer came into the house.
So if we sat down with this computer, we set up an age-restricted account for ourselves. Now we can't do anything until we create our parents' account. How does that work? And I guarantee you, every kid is going to fib and say, no, I'm old enough to be God on this computer because you can't tell me I can't do things because my dad is going to ask me to do this thing and make it work. It's such a weird situation. It's not one size fits all. So I was thinking about this. If you've got a car, and you know how a lot of them have the little tablet screens on them now,
Ooh.
that's a Linux-based system. That's a user interface. Who sets up the ID on that? The thermostat in your house. Who puts their ID on that? Microwave, TV, all the things. Like, so many things are driven by Linux now. My water heater is driven by Linux.
Dad, I can't get you a beer because the fridge won't open because I'm too young to open the fridge.
Here's the thing that I don't get is that
Switch
from what
profiles.
I'm reading is that the intent of this is to transmit that age or communicate that age to app stores.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't we just putting the age verification at the app store with a user account, an appropriate user account at the app store? Why does it have to be at the operating system? Because to me, that's just you're just creating more surface area for a vulnerability. That now they got my computer. Now they've got me and all my kids' ages with all the accounts that are on the computer. They know every one of my kids and how old they are. You know, whereas with an app store, like I'm not going to be creating an app store for my wife. She doesn't care to really play games off of Steam or any of the other places. So she doesn't even need an account, and therefore she doesn't need to provide her age. She's, why are we doing it? Like, to me, it's like a big shotgun effect that has the accuracy of a shotgun and doesn't even do anything to fix the problem.
Yeah, I don't even know if pushing the age verification back to the App Store does anything still. Like, I think we're still...
I don't even know if that's true, but like definitely moving it up to the operating system. Like, are you nuts? And all operating systems, like even server operating systems that really don't have a user per se, or, I mean, and from what I'm reading right now, it's like it's very broadly and vaguely defined, like written by someone who just said just all operating systems. I mean, maybe they put it in there that it's all desktop operating systems. I don't know, but
It's all.
I don't know. IoT things. I mean,
what about my RTOS?
Yeah.
What about my sprinkler system on my yard?
My thermostat is 13 years old.
You're 12 years old. You can't water the yard.
I need to age verify to use my Tamagotchi now.
Yeah.
So I think this brings up the big piece that I wanted to talk, and I don't want to get conspiracy theory, but I think we're watching it happen. We're losing anonymity. So you put a kid's account on a computer, you put a kid's account on a device, and they're age verifying it every time. And Discord and their partnership with Persona has proven that it goes out to 200 or 300 different sites to lock in that identity. So now your 7 or 8 year old child has 300 sites that know who, what, how, what, all the things that they access. What are they capable of doing? What are they not capable of doing? They're profiled. I would love to see the COPA, the Child Online Protection Act. I would love to see that come up against this. I think they're in opposition. These things are being tracked. They're being recorded. Our kids' lives are being tracked and de-anonymized, which, for better or worse, it's wrong. Don't track kids. We have years and years of legal footing behind this.
Yeah, I feel like it's having the opposite effect. The whole point is, well, they're flying the flag of protect the kids, let's get age verification going on everything so that, we make sure we know who's underage and not. But
Yeah.
when I think about my experience as a kid on a computer, we were still in that time of anonymity. Like, I felt safe as a kid because I knew the rules. You don't share your name, you don't share where you live, you don't share anything about yourself. And that's what made me felt safe. I was like, okay, yeah, they have no idea of telling who I am when I'm playing this game or whenever I'm doing, you name it. I don't know what else, I didn't do much but play games as a kid on the computer, but there's so much more that we use technology for now that I feel like this anonymity is more important now. That's what, and when I think about, okay, when I have kids, and if I think about the current state of things, I'm like, I don't want you on the internet because you don't know, talking to a little kid, you don't know what you're doing, honestly. So when they mess up, well, now it can be traced back to who they are. And
Which there's some bad actors out there,
That's just it. That's a bad actor's number one goal, is to identify who you are. That's the whole point of like hacking, like all like phishing and all that stuff, is to cast out some bait, have you take it, and then they've got all your information and they have identified you and who you are and what accounts you're connected to. And we're going in the exact opposite direction now. We're saying, no, everybody's got to be identified. Well, that only works for the good guys. Like, why punish the good guys with a stupid
punish
law?
everybody.
You're punishing everybody.
99.99% of everybody is doing the right thing.
You're punishing everybody. You're punishing the good guys, though, because with the bad guys, they're going to find a way around it. It's not a punishment to them. And if anything, I worry that it actually helps them. It's giving them one more piece of the puzzle that they need to identify you or your kids or your family or something.
Not just one more piece.
I mean,
if it's going out to 270 different places, that's now 270 new sources of information that these people can attempt to break into. And I guarantee you, not all of them are going to have security at the level that they need to keep all bad actors out. No safe is secure. There's always going to be a breach. It's just a matter of when and how they handle the data.
I think if we were trying to protect the kids, we'd go after the places like Roblox that have just been exposed for being an absolute...
I saw a video on this very topic, and the person in that video had the exact same frustration. It's like, why aren't we going after? And they mentioned Roblox. It was funny. I was like,
there's
absolutely.
So many sites.
Yeah.
Social media. I mean, I'm watching the ban hit in other countries. Anybody under 16 is not allowed to have social media. Okay, so we just now figured out social media has a toxic element. Cool. Why not find a way to help kids understand what to do and how to be safe? Jackson, like you were saying, just don't be a troll. Don't be a jerk. Don't give out your real information. The privacy is super important. I'm worried that this de-anonymization process is going to strip away the privacy that our parents wanted for us and the privacy we want for our kids. And we're going to lose all sense of privacy because the AIs are going to have access to everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's been going through my head as we've been talking about this, is, when I'm remembering my childhood, that even if I did, because we were talking about what a bad actor wants. Bad actor wants to figure out who I am and what else I use. Now that I have bank accounts and I have all this other stuff, if they figure out that I'm some user on a game, that doesn't help them really, honestly. Okay, he plays this game, whatever. But then if they figure out, okay, he plays this game and this person is also tied to these banks, well, now they can start doing targeted attacks at me. They can send me a phishing email that looks like it comes from my bank with information that would be, should only be known to me, and then I'm more prone to clicking on a link than if they just send me some junk email from some bank I don't use. So, and
Here's your
these are the
last 3
things
purchases. Confirm your identity.
exactly. And so, all of these little pieces of information that they're collecting are helping bad actors to identify people. And it's been shown even in researchers are going through this and testing this. Okay, well, how easy is it to identify someone based off of just some small pieces of metadata, or like maybe a tweet they sent out? Because it used to be that, like you guys talked about, all these message boards and all this stuff, it used to be anonymous. You go out there, ask a question, and talk to people, and nobody knew who anybody was, and that's what made it safe. But researchers have shown that you can actually feed this data coming from anonymous users, feed this data, the things that they say, the things that they say they like, or context. And these large language models can actually figure out who this person is with pretty high percentages of certainty.
Really?
Just based on some of that small data. Yes.
Like give me a for instance on that.
Yeah, one of the case studies they did was now I'll give you a general example. Let's look at this. Somebody tweets out, struggling with CS 224 and at Stanford this quarter, senior year is brutal. Another message from the same anonymous user. Walking biscuit through Dolores Park, missing Portland rain today with the dog emoji. Now those are obviously they're testing things. This is running through some very specific test cases. I don't know who would give out this exact information, but feed that in through the LM, just those 2 messages, and it matches. Okay, this person goes to Stanford, they're in the CS program, they're this age, and all of this, and then they match that to a name. They say, okay, it's this probable that it's this person, and there's like a second option that's 70%.
But are they from Portland,
So it narrows
Oregon, or
it
from
down.
Portland, Maine?
So that's the thing. They use all of these context to get this profile, and then they match that to people they're searching. So that's like a case study. And now they go on, okay, let's actually do this. And so they go on to Reddit, which is a great place for scraping this data, full of lots of quote unquote anonymous users. And they started, which I thought was interesting, they started by going through people's favorite movies. So they went to subreddits like horror or movie suggestions, true film, movie details, all of these subreddits. And they would go in and they would find people talking about their favorite movies. And I'll give you the stats. So if you shared one of your favorite movies, there's a 3.1% of those people could be identified with 90% precision. If you shared 2 to 4 of your favorite movies, 8.4% of that population can be identified with 90% precision. Okay, 5 to 9 jumps to 23%. If you share more than 10 of your favorite movies, you get to 48%. So almost
remember
half
all those Facebook posts, list your favorite movies, et cetera, et cetera. Put your top 10 favorite, top 15 favorite, top 20 favorite.
Oh, all those scam sites have just been holding on to that, and now they're ready to figure out who you are.
There was a education meme that went around. It said, here's your horoscope. The first 8 digits of your credit card number are your spirit animal. And the last 8 digits of your credit card number are,
It's a bit extreme, but yeah, I get the picture. And yeah, I remember those.
For some reason with that profiling that was done with that, I'm linking it back to the other things with the AI, and the image that I get is the officer that is accusing the lady that has not left her house of being on the other side of town, saying we've got the cameras there to prove that you were there. It's extrapolating answers from data without actual facts in place.
Yeah, that was an example where human decision got in the way of good judgment.
I'm
But
saying
I'll never forget that. I mean, that guy's going to go in
that-
history for saying you can't go outside without taking a breath of fresh air, and we watch you do it.
Yeah, I'm saying that that's how I'm seeing this kind of association being used. They're going to make the claim that you are this person because all the information points to you being this person without any definitive actual evidence of them being the person. That's all I'm saying.
Incomplete correlative data is going to be a problem. Actually, one of the reasons I've got GPS turned on full time just to prove where I'm at all the time. Because either I was there or I wasn't, but my GPS will tell me if I was or wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. Now you're having to now sacrifice something that you would have never shared out or never allowed to happen. Is your actual location. You would never want to log that in some cloud or even privately, maybe.
But that's even
now
a
you're forced
problem
to.
because I've got instances where I've looked up on kind of my history, my tracking, that it misses a couple of pings with the GPS satellites. And so it has me, let's just say, okay, it's only 5 minutes from here where I work to my house, right? Well, it has me driving for an hour and a half. Like, I was not driving for an hour and a half, and it did not take me an hour and a half to get from my house to the office. So
It was 3 hours.
where was it? Yeah, it was, okay. I went by way of, okay, the
We went through
ice cream
Casper to
shop
get to
or
the
something.
office.
Yeah, something like that, right? But so yeah, either the technology is going to have to be incredibly reliable to justify and prove our innocence, or we just need to find another way, which I'm all for finding another way.
Yeah, and last thing I'll say in this to kind of wrap up what I was saying about this this research. I think what's scary is that for the past 20 years, we've been forced to kind of give up some of this metadata. And even if these companies say, okay, this is anonymous data, which we're not attaching it to you, yada, yada, yada. At the time, I would have agreed, okay, yeah, cool. It's anonymous. I still don't like it, but okay, maybe it can't be traced back to me. But now where we're at, what LLMs have kind of shown that's not a thing anymore. There is no such thing as anonymous data because any and all data can be used to figure out who you are. And it used to not be a thing because in order for someone to do that, it would take just heaps and heaps amount of time. I don't even know if it would be possible to sort through all this data from all these different sources to then kind of draw the lines and figure out, okay, this is actually the same person. When you feed it into an AI model and boom, it can spit out the answer in a minuscule fraction of the time. So that whole idea of okay, this data is anonymous, I don't think is like I don't think you can say that anymore.
It reminds me of like physics and other areas of science where we can't actually observe the thing we're trying to study. We have to observe the effects. And if we collect enough data around the thing to observe the effects of it, then we can identify the thing we're trying to observe, And that's the same as training, the same thing. We've generated so much data now that we can actually establish patterns that say, oh, I'm not actually looking at Jackson, but I can see all the effects that Jackson has had for the last 7 days.
Yep.
We know what you did last summer.
Wait, where was I?
I don't even know what I was doing last week, let alone last summer.
Or AI will tell you what you were doing a week, a month, a year ago.
What's going to be really scary is when AI tells me what I'm doing tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or next week or next month.
Amazon has been trying to figure out the predictive model for our purchasing behaviors for years. It still doesn't know me. That's all I got to say.
Occasionally,
stuff. It's not mine.
Occasionally, I'll buy the craziest stuff just to throw it off. Just last week, I had a friend's birthday party, and she goes, "Come dressed as me," and I was like, "I don't know how to come dressed as you." And me and my roommate we were like looking on Amazon for like a wig or something, and it popped up like this ugly like mullet, and it came with these sunglasses. And we're like, it was $7, and we're like, "Do it." So I'm convinced. I'm think I'm throwing it off. It doesn't know. It has no idea what I want.
Thinks you're a wannabe redneck.
Mullet with the mad scientist goggles.
Right.
Now you don't know who you are.
And then I buy some super random high-end amplifier, and it doesn't know what to suggest.
That would be awesome. Well, I do want to mention this last one. We don't have time to talk, but I definitely want everybody out there who's stayed to the end. Thanks for staying to the end of this conversation. Like and subscribe if you like what you've seen and heard so far. We definitely want you to be part of this. Gamers, there's an archive out there for games. They take the entire disc, the data for it. They scan the booklets. They scan the DVD jackets. There's 390 terabytes of data up in the cloud. The operator has decided to throw in the hat and say he's done. Throw in the towel, sorry. A bunch of people have thrown in their hat to say, please let me help you. They're trying to get a good copy of some of the data because at the end of March, it's getting turned off. 390 terabytes need to be downloaded, everybody. Do your part. Get the games you want. Get the games you don't want. Keep a little bit of an archive on this. Artie, what is it called?
It's Myrient.
Spell that out.
Yeah.
I will put a link in the description. But it stands for something, and I'm trying to find what it is. Myriad of entertainment. And it's not just the games, it's not just like the booklets, it's like all the periphery. It is like soundtracks, it is programs that were for DOS, programs that were for Windows 3.1. Just like archive of everything that was program related, that is more or less lost, unless you've got like
not yet.
Yes, not yet, but unless you've got like a 3.5 inch floppy that is from 90 years ago that still has magnetic retention on it.
Wow, it's a pretty big archive. I'm just like browsing through it right now, and it's got everything, and it goes way back too.
Yeah,
get what you want. It's about to go away.
I will say there are some people that have created a Reddit thread that are actively trying to archive the entirety of it just to make sure it doesn't go away, but it's not a guarantee.
Internet Archive should get on this thing.
It's almost like they need to break it up and say, okay, break it up by platform and say, hey, who's got this platform and who's got that platform? And maybe collectively, if enough people can pick a platform and take it and archive it, then they'll save it all.
Slice it into 391 terabyte chunks. Share those out.
If everybody
I definitely wanted everybody
a terabyte,
right?
Yeah.
Definitely wanted awareness to be out there because this is important if you care about old games, where we've been, where we're going. But stick with us because we're going places. This conversation is only going to get better. Until next time, I'm John.
I'm Mike.
I'm Jackson.
I want to ride my bicycle.
That might be on the archive too. Have a good night, everybody.